lights on.
Yes, red lights on. They call me the new beast, boy. I stole it from Dan Severn. I got his name right.
You got his name right this week.
Oh yeah. Everybody made fun of him. He said, "Was you talking about the guy that used to play the gimmick on late night, Johnny Carson?" Remember I tried to call him Doc Severson?
Severson.
Yeah, he
Doc
was one.
Severson.
Yes, everybody.
I think that's right.
And they said that he was the one that they thought that's what I was trying to say. I said, yeah, but Bullet corrected me. So I got the Beast's name right, Bullet. So anyway, so it was a great week. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I kiss out.
Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the edition of Dad, You Don't Work, You Wrestle. You hear the claps. You know what time it is. George, how was your weekend?
Bullet, I had an unbelievable weekend. I love that little moment right before we kick in because I almost like go to sleep, Bullet. It's almost like that you know.
The reset button.
Oh, exactly, Bullet. Very much. Almost when you're getting ready to go to sleep and the kids yell at you and you wake up. But I'm almost there at that moment. You know, they tell you if you're dreaming and you're falling, don't never hit because that means you died. That's an old wise tale, Bullet. But anyway, so always wake up if you're dreaming about falling. But anyway, Bullet, had a great weekend. Unbelievable time that I had. I want to first of all thank my guys that invited me up to Friday to Hickory, North Carolina, at the fairgrounds. Bullet, one of my favorite shows of the year. They do that a little show there. They have a big poker run, a bike rally, car show, everything, and it's all going to disabled kids. Bullet, when that thing was done, I'm telling you, tickets were $15, Bullet, but that included all the meals for those that like beverages beyond Mountain Dew, all the free beverages. So it wasn't real bad for those that sit there and drink beer all day, Bullet. But anyway, when the smoke cleared at the end of the night, after the wrestling, the 50-50, they had raised about $17 grand for disabled kids. Bullet. I thought that was just a neat little thing for just a bunch of old bikers, you know? Yeah. I mean, I thought, wow. So just thank y'all guys for letting me come up. Great time there. Got to sell a few gimmicks and stuff like that. Meet a lot of wonderful people. And then I finished up there, Bullet, and of course, Sunday headed to the Roll-A-Rama in Huntington, West Virginia. Had not been there in a while, Bullet, but you were corrected on, we talked about the building, that the famous building that had been tore down.
Yes.
I talked to a lot of fans about that. Of course, it had been, it wasn't there no more. But we went to the Roll-A-Rama downtown. Just a great event, Bullet. Again, got to see a lot of good friends. Tito Santana that I hadn't seen in a while, Bullet. He looked great, worked hard. Of course, Al Snow looked like $100 million, Bullet. Oh my gosh! And then everybody looked good except me. But anyway, Bill Eadie, one of my favorite moments. Of course, what's so funny is when he's Demolition, I kind of ignore him like he's an outlaw guy. Okay, but when he's like Master Superstar Bill Eadie, oh my gosh, Bullet. I mean, it's just. But anyway, we talked for a good 20 minutes, just me and him. The only two people in the building, just about family and life, and just a great guy. So that got to see him, and of course, my all-time favorite guy in all of wrestling is Dan the Beast Severn. Okay, got his name right, Bullet. Right. Just the first time, he'd even reminded me. He said, "You know, it's the first time we've ever worked a show together." So usually guys tell me that. They don't really mean it. They're just saying it because they're glad he ain't never been on a show with me. But Dan Severson was just a first-class guy. We talked for a long time. Just what great shape, Bullet. We were joking. I told you earlier about just his warm-up is harder than most. Well, it is harder than any match I've ever had. I'm just telling you, brother, just in great shape. Just real nice guy. Had time for the kids. He's one of those guys that after he does enough shows for a while, he'll become like us, to where basically if you ain't gonna buy nothing, get away. Yeah. But right now, it's basically just sit down and talk to everybody. I mean, just that nice of a guy. But that'll change if he stays in the business anytime soon. So had a great time.
I think he's been in and around the business for quite some time.
Well, that's true too, boy. So. That's true too. But you know, when you're around him, and I learned my lesson with Baron Von Raschke years ago when I tried to stretch Baron in that 7-Eleven that late night. But you almost, it's like an old gunslinger. When you're that close to him, you almost want to like try him. Not really, Bullet, but just to see. Let me see if I. But I didn't want to die. I'd sold a few books. Things were good, Bullet. So anyway,
actually, here's a fun fact that I've probably never shared anywhere. I actually saw Dan Severn fight a UFC match against Pat Miletich. And very pro wrestling-ish. It was an outdoor in the park. I believe it was in Moline or Bettendorf. I'm not sure which quad city it was. But the reason was he fought Pat Miletich because Pat Miletich had a school there. And it was about the time that UFC wasn't allowed on pay-per-view when they were going through all that transition and the houses were down. And very much like WWF 93, 94-ish. Yep. Yeah, a lot of concern
Everybody may leave. May leave.
Exactly. Yep. And Dan Severn took on Pat Miletich. And Dan Severn, big guy, I think he's like 240, he was 260 at the time, the Beast, and Pat Miletich was 185 pounds.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. Pat Miletich went the distance. It was one of the last 2 minutes of that fight was probably one of the most exciting fights I've ever seen before.
Oh, wow.
So I've actually seen Dan Severn in action back in the day when he was like, and this was when he was like, had like 18 belts on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
he borrowed you or me to hold some of his belts.
Yeah.
Bullet in the pictures. Oh, wow. Oh, I love that story.
I never share that, but like that's what I always remember when I think about Dan Severn.
Wow. And you can tell even now, I mean, I know, he's almost like Flair. You just put him in a ring, you put him in a cage now, and I bet he could go. I mean, honestly. Yeah. I mean, but he just a great guy, Bullet. So we had a great time up there, Bullet. I do, right off the bat, before we get started, just on a serious note, I don't know if you heard about this, Bullet, but it broke my heart. I had met the gentleman. I don't know how many of you people, and I wore my Batman hat just in honor of him. The one gentleman, his name was Leonard Bullet. His first name was the guy that you've heard about for about the last 5 years, dressed up like Batman, and of course just visited all the children's hospitals all over the world, and has done this for 5 years. Didn't get paid a dime. He had the backing from Warner Brothers that just gave him their blessing to do it. And what was so neat is the last few years, he actually, someone had let him borrow a Lamborghini that he had painted like the Batmobile, of course, and he just, he's the one that you may have heard about a few months ago that they actually got the whole town, a young little boy was dying of cancer, they actually got this whole town, this whole city to dress up like Batman criminals and stuff. And so this guy, Leonard, the Batman, and the little boy fought crime all day before that little boy passed away. But the saddest story, Bullet, I just want to give a mention to his family. Bullet, this past weekend, he just finished the Charleston, West Virginia Big River Fest. There's Batman. Bullet, and unless you've seen this, you're going to think I'm trying to crack a joke here, but I'm not. Seriously, Bullet in the Batmobile broke down on, I think it was like Interstate 50. Bullet, as he was getting out to check, serious story here, he got ran over. Yeah. True story, Bullet. And he has passed away. And just a sad story. So I just want to give my hats off to him. He did a lot of good, Bullet. He spent over 25 grand of his own money last year just buying Batman stuff to take and share with the families.
Well,
and stuff.
actually,
So,
and there's actually the doctor that was in the Freight Train documentary, who I did a podcast about. He was a part of a documentary about how Batman the character Batman has changed people's lives, and he follows different people and how Batman affects their life. And they actually interviewed that guy.
Oh, wow.
So if there's more you want to learn about the good that gentleman that portrayed Batman, he's well documented, and it's on Netflix. I believe it's called Legends of the Night with a K because of Dark Knight.
Yeah, right.
I highly recommend seeing that because they do a wonderful piece on him. So
thank you.
I highly recommend anybody at Netflix to go check that out, and not just because of his story, but all the other great inspirational stories and stuff like that. That how Batman is like really affected and changed. The story of Batman has almost become like an American folk legend that has changed life. And of course, the gentleman who we speak about is well documented in that, and you get to see firsthand the good that he did.
Good. I appreciate you adding that, Bullet. I didn't even know that. But just, it's sad when anyone passes away, but just this kind of was near dear to my heart. He just did a lot of good, and just a freak accident. No one has been charged. It's just a sad thing. And if we just remember Leonard, his family, and of course just everyone involved. So we'll just lift him up in prayer. But just hats off to all the work that he had done. So, Bullet, this week, real quick, I want to give a heads up. This coming Saturday, right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, our own hometown, one of our own guys, our Booker T, Darius, I think that's his real name. I don't even know if that's his real name.
I'm shocked that you even got that close.
The only reason he is because he's trying to sell me a T-shirt, Bullet, with that name on it. I said, who's that? If you sold me one with Booker T, I'd buy it. But anyway, this coming Saturday, all the information's up on my website. It's like Gethsemane, big long name church. I mean, it's this long, Bullet. So, but right down here in Charlotte, down below Johnson C. Smith University, we're going to get started around 2 o'clock, Bullet. Just a fun day. It's all free. Bring the kids. They get to meet the wrestlers. It gives our students here at Rings and just highspots.com, George South Trent, gives them a place to start their career, Bullet, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
get to wrestle in front of some
people. An outside venue, kind of in a parking lot area. No different than when Dan Severn was fighting Pat Miletich.
That's exactly right. Oh, I love that.
so everybody's got to go through those.
I love that.
If you're on top of the world,
Oh, and Bullet, with all that being said, and I know I was kind of like didn't find out, but a lot of big news happened this past weekend in PWX, Bullet.
The Bravado Brothers ran in.
Oh, they went nuts.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh. Brother, what's going on, man? But kind of up there with the Hogan news and all this. No, not the bad Hogan news, the good.
Yeah,
Hogan.
Cedric Alexander said he left. So, real big news.
But.
They beat up Zane Riley.
Gosh. And then even I think Mike Lee even got a chair shot. What the heck got into the Boros? But with all I said, I do think that maybe Bullet Jake Manning may have, am I supposed to even let this out yet? Do they even know? Only reason I ask
I think there's enough people still in the building. I think a lot of people left.
Well, Bullet, only reason I say it is because I saw the PWX shows coming up, and I saw one of the posters with Bullet Jake Manning on that poster. So that could be false advertisement. I could be exposing the whole thing before it even happens. But
I ran to the ring. That happened. That of course has been lost in the shuffle and has been relegated to 12th page news, as obviously it should. My shining moment and a return that should have been a shining moment, front page news. It's buried in the obituary files. So. What better way to make a debut other than just auspiciously just showing up and nobody caring? So why not? It's like Hogan was
Dusty came back to Florida and nobody cared.
Hogan revealed he was the third man. He couldn't even make the dirt sheets.
I swear, the American Dream left WWE. He's going to go back, just going to recreate Florida, and nobody cares.
And they put it on WCW Worldwide. Not even Saturday night. That's exactly right. Not even WC Saturday night. They put it on Worldwide.
That's exactly right. Couldn't even start a feud with him and Dick Slater. Put him in there like Big Steel Man. I mean, what do they expect? But anyway, but I just wanted to not expose that if I wasn't supposed to, but I'm just glad to see.
Will happen. Well, at least now I know that this whole thing has nothing but room to go up.
Yeah.
So, it's not starting.
So, like, you needed another booking on your plate besides everything else because the comedian stuff is going. I thought about you Sunday, Bullet, or comedians like wrestlers. You meet them everywhere. There was one guy walks up to my table in Huntington at the Roll-A-Rama Sunday afternoon. And I swear, I wish I'd have brought it. Gives me a DVD of him, a CD. Said, "Could you take a look at this? Like, what is?" And he's a comedian. Is what I'm saying. He's a comedian, and said he said, "You want to hear one of my famous lines?" I said, "Not really." He said, "I'm gonna tell you anyway." I was ready to punch him, but he said some stupid line like he goes up to women. It was kind of funny. He said he goes up to women and says, "Excuse me" or something, and they say, "Well, I'm fine." Or you're fine, or something. I don't know, stupid. But the punchline's supposed to be the woman says he's the worst comedian in the world. Especially after I butcher your joke. Okay?
Yes.
So, is that how bad it's got in the comedian field that they carry them with them now and say, but I guess it really did a lot for my career asking a professional wrestler to critique his comedian thing. Bullet. I mean, am I not a joke enough? But anyway, I appreciate it. But anyway.
Was it an actual CD or was it like a
listen, this was a DVD. I'm talking, Bullet, in a case, veryhighspottage.com, with the plastic around it.
Okay.
And had his credentials on the back. I know he probably could create that himself, but his DVD looked better than anything I had on my gimmick table. Okay, so, but anyway, he may be. But I just thought about you when.
Please think about me because the next 2 weeks are crazy because tonight I got the Fight Night competition. Thursday I am doing another competition in Salisbury at the Lee Street Theater, part of their Comedy Fest festival up there at Salisbury Lee Theater. I think it's like Lee Street Comedy Festival or something like that. I'm performing there. Then on Saturday I'm doing a stand-up showcase in Cornelius. Then on Sunday, I'm back around to Funny on the Fly at the Comedy Zone. Then next Tuesday, I got Epic Storytellers, where I'll probably tell one of the best stories that I've ever experienced in my life. And then I think I do my first improv show next Friday. Then I'm at AML. Then Sunday, it's back at the Comedy Zone for the North Carolina Equality Show. And then that Wednesday, it's the first Tremont Wednesday comedy show. And then we go back into the PWX 3-day weekend.
Bullet. Wow. So,
and then, of course, my podcast, I recorded 5 interviews.
Wow.
No, I had 4 interviews in 7 days.
Wow.
So
that's covering everything. I mean, you cover anybody on that. That's what I love about it.
I'm going to ahead and let it out right now because it happened. It's recorded. I interviewed the mayor. That podcast will be posted next Monday.
Oh, that's tough there.
So now when people say that they're too busy to talk to me, I can now say, look, I got the mayor.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is like the real mayor, not that like the mayor that was on Walking Dead. Remember the one, the governor? No, he was the governor.
It's not the governor.
Yeah, it's not the governor like was on Walking Dead. This is the man right here.
Mayor, Dan Clodfelter will be on my podcast this upcoming Monday. So if you want, and of course it being election year, it'll be interesting the things we talk about.
A lot of stuff going on, Bullet. Thank you so much. We do got a quick idiot of the week, if you don't mind, Bullet, before we get off the air. Bullet, everybody knows in my own life you've helped me a lot over the years with just change, Bullet, and just how things, and change is good a lot of times, Bullet, a lot of times. Not in my life, it's not. I want everything to be like it was, to stay, the kids don't get
I don't want to transfer over to Howell. I want to stay on the Mark Man
that's exactly right.
I don't want to transfer over to Howell.
But Bullet, this was a cool moment. I just thought this. Up there in Huntington, the guys had some fans had come over and told me how much they enjoyed my match, just old-fashioned heat. And my kids had just texted me, and I pulled out my Luthes flip phone, and I swear to you, that's one guy, a grown man, said, man, he said, you are old school. I think they thought that was like part of my gimmick. They didn't know that's my real phone, Bullet, okay? And so I just told him. But anyway, I ain't got nothing to do with the idiot bag, but he just thought that was cool that I didn't pull out the latest Sony, iPhone,
Droid.
It wouldn't have went with like the clothes I had on.
Yeah,
or anything like that.
That's the size of the book. You know, it's like
that's exactly right. So with all that being said, Bullet, all through my high school, and I don't know if you may even remember this, Bullet, I'm sure you will, but it's just another part, times of the change and stuff like that. And when I was a kid, they had a few record stores, places like that, of course, but one of the big places that you first started getting your movies from, not no DVDs, they wasn't out yet, just your old-fashioned VHS, even 8-track still, Bullet, was of course Columbia House. I don't know if you remember that, Bullet. That was big time, big time of my childhood, but the ugly head of advancement and progress, which is I'm throwing progress in idiot bags. What I'm saying, okay? I'm throwing progress in the idiot bag because yes, folks, you know what I'm fixing to say. Columbia House is no more. They have announced this week after all those years.
I'm surprised they were still around.
Me too. Seriously, me too, Bullet. I don't know. Another part. I know it's all better. Everything's better. Everything's good. So what? Brush them off the map. But it's just another part of me. And all my old girlfriends that broke my heart was all the music from Columbia House, because you could get it for like 5 8 tracks for like a penny. I mean, seriously, they get you hooked.
We should have known something was up then. When you could get 10 CDs for less than $5 a month. But then if you want to buy something in the store, it was $20 per CD.
I don't know how that works.
I think we should have learned that there was something up.
That's very true.
That's
very true. So maybe Columbia House, it was just time to get out of town. Okay,
yeah,
maybe it was, Bullet. But anyway, because we can here at our show, Bullet, I'm just going to throw progress one more time into the idiot bag, okay? Because maybe it wasn't progress. Well, they'll stay in there. But maybe it wasn't progress that got rid of Columbia House. Maybe it was the FBI. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. It ain't been documented. Hasn't been proven.
Oh, you're very good about not committing slander anymore. I appreciate that.
Oh, no, I'm learning, Bullet, okay?
Thank you.
Listen, if I say something, if I yell at my kids, I put that hashtag on the back. Just so they can't sue me.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you understand what slander is.
I'm learning.
130 so episodes in. I appreciate you understanding.
I'm learning now. So, but anyway, we're just so glad. Thank everybody. The book did real good up in Huntington. It's kind of neat. I even sold a few CM Punk bobbleheads. What's so neat is my CM Punk bobbleheads have not traveled to Huntington, so it's real neat when people see it and say, "Oh my goodness!" After we've had them for like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Anyway, so great week. Got a lot going on. Congratulations, Bullet, on all the comedian stuff. Folks, buy a book. It's got a great book. And again, folks, but what you couldn't get at Columbia House, but you can get
at highspots.com. It's the second greatest book of all time. And if you want to know more about what me and George are doing, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
We're going to get 2 Twitters account. Okay?
We're going to have to.
Really, keep up with yours.
But anyways, it's at Man Scout Manning. And once again, this has been another edition of Dad, You Don't Work, You Wrestle.
Good job, boy. Good show. We're going to get to we're going to get a Bullet comedian account. Oh, you have to get. Oh, the first step is getting another Facebook page. That's what I'm saying, Bullet. For the Bullet comedian.
Oh, comedian.
But seriously, I had somebody ask me, and I should ask you this on air. What do you?
You might want to ask me off air. How about
that's true too. But